So in last class, we were discussing about the Gujarat doctrine, right? Uh, so first of all, tell me that what is the syllabus of for the mains examination? This particular segment, IR. There are how many themes? Four themes, right? First theme is India and neighborhood relations. Second, bilateral, regional, global grouping, right? Third point, politics and policies of developed and developing countries and impact on India's interest and Indian diaspora. And last one, important international institutions and agencies, their mandate and structure, right? So we were discussing the first core theme of our syllabus, and we classified this first core theme in various sub themes. And so first sub theme in this theme was India's foreign policy. Second sub theme, Panchsheel doctrine. Third one, Gujarat doctrine. Clear point? Next theme is very good. Non-alignment movement. Note down name. So we will discuss name on the basis of certain points. First point is about the name. About the second point, evolution and origin of name. And achievements of, right? Then relevancy of, we will discuss non-alignment movement on the basis of these points. Clear? Acha. Before discussing this particular topic, I am going to tell you something important facts about or related to the international politics. Some key terms. Unipolar world, clear point. What is the unipolar world? Single dominant powerful country, right? So at a present time, who is single powerful country? America, USA. Second concept is bipolar. Why? Polar world. Bipolar world means, multipolar world means, huh? More than two powers. Acha. Next concept is first world, second world, and third. What is the first world? Which area of the globe is considered as first world? Eastern, Western Europe. ठीक है, very good. Western Europe, specifically US. Clear? This is the first world. Second world, Eastern Europe or USSR. Right? Third world countries means developing countries, and developing countries means not Asian countries, African countries, and Latin American countries. What? Countries which got independence after the Second World War. Asian countries, African countries, and Latin American countries, which got independence after the Second World War, right? So these countries are considered as third world. Third world countries are developing developing countries also. These countries are also known as developing countries. This world is also known as South world. This world is known as North, getting point? North world and South world. South South cooperation, North South cooperation. When we are talking about North world in international politics, it means we are talking about the developed countries. North world means this is equator. This is north and this is south. So this north area reflects developed countries, specifically European countries. And this area reflects developing countries. What? Many countries of this particular north area are also developing countries. So इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि south means south. When we are talking about the south world, it means we are talking about the developing countries of this particular, right? And we are talking about the north world, it means we are talking about the developed countries. So this is division between north world and south world, right? What is the division, or what are the factors which are dividing this particular division north and south? Because north world or the countries of the north world or the countries of the north world, they have dominance over technology, they have dominance over finance, they have technology, they have dominance over resources, and these countries are exploitating to south countries. So the problems of south countries, problems of south countries are different from the problems of, because these countries are talking about the artificial intelligence, these countries are talking about the space technology, these countries are talking about the atomic energy. What these countries, they are talking about reducing poverty, hunger, unemployment, gender equality. These countries are talking about green politics. Green politics is an agenda of the politics of developed countries. But gender inequality or gender equality is an agenda of the politics of developing. Reduce poverty, reducing poverty, reducing unemployment. These are the agendas of the politics of the developing countries, right? And these countries have dominance in important international institutions. For example, United Nation, World Bank, IMF. इसके पास ज्यादा veto power है developed countries, right? So developing countries are demanding to pay more to these countries for the environmental protection and for the reduced poverty, sustainable development goals, SD, right? ये वैसे ही गरीबी अमीरी है जैसे हमारे आपकी बातचीत होती, right? तो इंडिया and China, Brazil, Argentina, these countries, these countries are supporting to the voice of these south world. But on the other hand, USA, France, Italy, G7, this group is talking about the interest of the developed countries or the north world. This is north south divide, right? North south debate. Clear? So India is a leader of south south cooperation. India is a leader of south south interests, south south dialogue. So after the second world war ended in 1945. So after the second world war, many countries of Asia, Latin America, and Africa got independence, right? And this was the period of Cold War. So there was only two options for before these countries, that you have to join the bloc of USA or the bloc of USSR. But India also got independence in 1947 during the period of the Cold War. So Pandit Nehru suggested a new type of foreign policy, and this foreign policy is non-alignment, right? Not the alignment with the bloc of the USA, not the alignment with the bloc of USSR. So this was the innovation of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru or other leaders of the third world country. So we can say the non-alignment movement is an innovation or was an innovation of third world countries. But what was the purpose of the non-alignment movement? The basic purpose of non-alignment movement was to ensure independent foreign policy for these third world countries, because the interests of these countries are different from the interest of first world or second world, right? Right, getting my point? Because what are the interests of India, or what were the interests of the third world countries? To reduce poverty, to reduce hunger, to reduce unemployment, economic growth, not sustainable development, economic growth was the first priority to these countries. So Nehru suggested to these third world countries that you have to opt in this particular ideology, because if you are going to join the bloc of the USA, then you are enemy of USSR, or you are going to join the bloc of the USSR, then you are enemy of, or if you are going to join the bloc of the USA, then you are accepting the developmental approach of the USA. Because but the challenges of the third world countries are different from the challenge of the USA. So you have to develop a particular ideology to maintain development of, because challenges during the time of independence were different for the India. So Nehru suggested a different type of ideology to these countries. There's a non-alignment. Getting point or not? Right? Correct. So this is the non-alignment movement, right? Nehru, Kwame Nkrumah, Nasir, Tito, Sukarno, they were the leaders of this non-alignment, right? So we will discuss that what is the origin. Achha, you are getting these points? Huh? Getting? Third world country. So India always supports the interest of the third world countries, right? Or why this particular movement, India supported the interest of the third world country. There are some ideologies or approaches. For example, realistic approach, idealistic approach. But there is also an approach, Marxist approach, right? Marxist approach to study international relation. What approach? Realist approach. Realist approach and idealistic approach. Realist approach means some philosopher or scholars study international relations or the relations among the nations on the basis of realistic ideology. Some scholars who believe to study the relations among the nations on the basis of idealistic. So scholars who support idealistic approach, they believe that relations among the nations are based on fulfill the national interest or on the basis of war. But scholars of these ideology, they believe that cooperation. There is also an ideology, that is Marxist ideology. Marxist ideology is based on the ideas of Karl, right? Karl Marx was a person of Germany, and he shifted to not Russia, England. Frederick Engel was the friend of the Karl Marx. Karl Marx completed his PhD in sociology, not sociology, in the socialism. Completed PhD in socialism, right? Or Karl Marx born in 1818, or this was the period of industrial revolution 1 in the England, and this period was an example of the industrial revolution, and there was huge divide in the society. Some people are very much poor and some very much rich, and some people have concentration on the wealth. और wealth किसके पास है? People, capitalist society. Which society? Liberal capitalist society. So before the Karl Marx, many thinkers criticized liberal capitalist ideology, that the capitalist ideology fulfills the interest of the bourgeois class, of the of the capitalist class, right? but but ये आइडियोलॉजी बहुत एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं थी. सो कार्ल मार्क्स फर्स्ट टाइम क्रिटिसाइज द कैपिटलिस्ट लिबरल कैपिटल आइडियोलॉजी ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ scientific method. He said that my socialism is scientific socialism, right? And he criticized the liberal capitalist ideology, and he said that there should be no state, no family, no police, and there should be rule of the people, or rule of the proletariat, or rule of the proletariat means rule of the workers. उसने Karl Marx said that, oh worker, you have nothing to lose but the क्या but the games. तो क्या करो? Unite and make a revolution against liberal capitalist ideology. Right? So some scholars who are Marxist, they analyzed the relations between nations on the basis of this particular approach. So for example, Karl Marx said or declared that the society is divided into classes, have or haves not. Have means capitalist, have not means proletariat. कुछ लोग अमीर हैं और कुछ लोग गरीब हैं, बिल्कुल सही बात है. और the capitalist bourgeois always exploited to the proletariat, to the bigger section of the society. बिल्कुल सिंपल सा है. तो उसने कहा कि इस क्लास सोसाइटी डिवाइड है. So when the Marxist thinker analyzed the international relation or relations among the nations, so he also declared that, said that, or advocated that the world is also divided into blocks. One is block of the capitalist, and second is block of developed countries and block of developing countries. And developed countries, these countries are exploiting to the, this is the dependency theory, right? Developed countries are dependent on the developed countries, and developed countries are exploiting to the depending. This is north south divide. Andre Gundar Frank, Samir Amin, they are the thinker related to the Marxist theory of international relation, right? Clear point? So these are the approaches, but there are other approaches, लेकिन हमें सब पे बात नहीं करनी है. थोड़ा थोड़ा सा समझते जाओ, जब आगे बढ़ते जाएंगे थोड़ा सा समझेंगे, राइट? तो रियलिस्ट अप्रोच क्या कहती है? रियलिस्ट अप्रोच, हम्म, बोलो रियलिस्टिक अप्रोच की क्या कॉन्सेप्ट है इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन में? इफ यू आर अ थिंकर हु सपोर्ट्स रियलिस्ट आइडियोलॉजी, तो कैसे एनालाइज करोगे इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस को? इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन मींस, इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन और इंटरनेशनल पॉलिटिक्स मींस struggle for power among the, and interest can be fulfilled through the war. This is the approach. Or you are idealistic thinker, so you believe that cooperation there is also, or you are a Marxist thinker, so you believe that the world is divided in two blocks, a block of the capitalist, a block of the proletariat. Capitalist means developed countries, or proletariat means developing countries, and developed countries are exploiting to the developing countries. They are exploiting the resources of the, this is the dependency theory. ऐसे आइडियोलॉजी थोड़ा सा आपको कवर करना पड़ेगा, समझना पड़ेगा आइडियोलॉजीज को. दीज आर द आइडियोलॉजीज ऑफ द इंटरनेशनल अप्रोचेज टू स्टडी ऑफ इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस एंड इंटरनेशनल पॉलिटिक्स. अब आपको जो अच्छा लगे वो आइडियोलॉजी यू कैन फॉलो द पर्टिकुलर आइडियोलॉजी. यू कैन फॉलो द रियलिस्ट, आइडियलिस्टिक और मार्क्सिस्ट आइडियोलॉजी. तो इट इज योर चॉइस, राइट? तो विच आइडियोलॉजी इज, हाँ ठीक है, हाँ भाई चैट दिख रहा है राघव जी आपका. हाँ, तो आपको कौन सी आइडियोलॉजी अच्छी लग रही है? रियलिस्टिक, आइडियलिस्टिक और मार्क्सिस्ट? एंड which ideology is good? Realistic, idealistic or Marxist? Idealistic, huh? Realistic, huh? If you are supporting to the Marxist ideology, it means you are very poor person by the mentality, right? This is not true. I'm just joking. Lekin Marxist ideology also have dominance on. Achha, there is feminist ideology also, which analyzes the international relation, right? Uh, Patman, a lady Patman, he criticized the idealistic ideology, right? And she criticized the idealistic ideology. She said that if we are analyzing the international relation, then we are talking about the power, interests. Power is an essential feature of male personality, not the female person, right? So there is a need to analyze international relation on the basis of the female characteristic. Ecofeminism, Bandana Seva, ecofeminism, right? तो उन्होंने कहा कि if we want to resolve the conflict at the international level, there is a need to adopt some characteristics of the female personality, right? This is Batman. ठीक है, अलग अलग लोग अलग अलग तरीके से बातें कर रहे हैं, लेकिन फिलहाल हम किसी एक को सपोर्ट नहीं करेंगे, right? But which ideology is relevant or dominant at the present time? The realist ideology. Because each and every country, every nation wants to fulfill its interest. What? Not on the basis of war, but on the basis of cooperation. So the present world is combination of realistic and Both ideologies are relevant, right? What is the basic purpose of the India's foreign policy? To fulfill the national interest. So we are realistic at this time. What we are fulfilling these national interests on the basis of cooperation, not on the basis of war. So we are adopting idealistic ideology. Or when we are talking about the interest of the third world nation, or the interest of the global south, or the interest of the developing countries, then we are talking about the Marxist ideology, right? Or when we are talking about that the chairman or the president of the United Nations, or general secretary of the United Nations should be a female, then we are talking about the feminist. All ideologies have their significance, relevance in the society. Clear? Getting right? So अभी तक हमने कुछ नहीं पढ़ा. Tell me that what is the non-alignment movement? What is the non-alignment movement? What do you think on the basis of the particular discussion? Hmm? Any idea? बोलो कुछ. हाँ, बोलना पड़ेगा. ऐसे नहीं पढ़ाऊंगा. Become independent. In which perspective? Right? ठीक. Anyone? मुझे बताओ, आपस में मत बताओ. Maintaining equal distance. Okay. हाँ. And what is NAM? What is non-alignment movement? Note down. Note down. Non-alignment. Aligned. ऐसे लिखो. Non-aligned movement. Non-aligned movement. Non-aligned. ALIGNED. Non-aligned movement is a group of states. Is a group of state. The group of states are not that are not formally that are not formally aligned, ALIGNED, with or against any major, with or against any ANY major power block, PLOC, their power block. Power block. PLOC, not K. PLOC block. ब्लॉक ए, ब्लॉक बी, ब्लॉक सी, ऐसे कभी देखा है? लिखा रहता है कॉलोनीज में. स्पेलिंग क्या होती है? PLOC, ब्लॉक. राइट? क्लियर? नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. NAM, NAM. NAM means non-aligned movement. NAM was an innovation. NAM was an innovation of third world countries. Third world countries. Third, third world country. Next point. Founding fathers of the movement. Founding fathers of the movement are 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 first Pandit Nehru, bracket India. Pandit Nehru, bracket India. Next, second point. Sukarno, SUKARNO, Sukarno. Indonesia. Sukarno. Third one, Tito. 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 Yugoslavia. Tito, Yugoslavia. 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 Next, Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame. 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 Nkrumah. Kwame. Kwame. Nkrumah. Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah. The president of Ghana. Note down in bracket. Ghana. CHAN. Fifth is Nasir. NASSER. Egypt. Clear point? Kwame Nkrumah was the president of the Ghana, and he was also a political scientist, right? है ना? Political scientist. He wrote a very famous book, Imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism. This was not the book of the अच्छा लेनिन ने भी एक किताब लिखी, व्लादिमीर लेनिन. हाँ, नहीं जानते उन्हीं किताब के बारे में आप लोग? कब पढ़ोगे ये सब? स्कूल में नहीं पढ़ा कभी? Not in school. You study these things in school. Why? आप लोगों की स्कूलिंग खराब है, इसलिए तो प्रॉब्लम होती है प्रिपरेशन. क्या चीज पढ़ो? क्या पढ़ो? क्या चीज पढ़ी? पढ़ी कि नहीं? नहीं पढ़े हैं? एनसीईआरटीज. स्टडी एनसीईआरटीज. व्हाई? कंपलसरी है एनसीईआरटीज. पॉसिबल करना पड़ेगा एनसीईआरटीज. और कैसे पढ़ोगे? याद करो उन्हें. याद करना पड़ेगा. सब लिखा है. 12th क्लास एनसीईआरटी. यू कैन फॉलो 12th क्लास एनसीईआरटी पॉलिटिकल साइंस कंटेम्पररी वर्ल्ड पॉलिटिक्स. नोट डाउन. You can follow this NCRT. कहीं नोट कर लो इसको. You can follow the NCRT for the international relation 12th class NCRT contemporary world politics. ये किताब ले लेना, ठीक है? पढ़ना उसको. ये किताब है. Contemporary world politics. If you want to know about the politics after the independence and political development of India, there is also a book in 12th class, Politics After the Independence India. वो भी एक किताब है. बड़ी शानदार बुक है ऑफ द एनसीआर 12th क्लास. वो भी आप पढ़ सकते हैं, बट अभी इसको फॉलो करना बिकॉज वी आर स्टडिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर सेगमेंट. सो यू कैन फॉलो दिस पर्टिकुलर सीआरटी बुक. इसको ले लेना. और इसमें जो चैप्टर में पढ़ा रहा हूँ उसको एक बार थोड़ा सा पढ़ना. कोल्ड वॉर के बारे में बड़ा स्पेसिफिकली उन्होंने मेंशन. इसको फॉलो करो. इस किताब की बुक है. और कोई किताब नहीं पढ़ना. जो मैं पढ़ाते हुए नोट्स बनवा रहा हूँ मोर देन सफिशिएंट. इफ यू वांट टू फॉलो एनी बुक फॉर द इंटरनेशनल रिलेशन यू कैन फॉलो दिस पर्टिकुलर बुक ऑफ द 12th क्लास एनसीईआरटी. दिस कंटेम्पररी वर्ल्ड पॉलिटिक्स. ऐसी पतली सी किताब है. तो जितनी बार पढ़ना तो पढ़ना. What is the meaning of the bloc? What is the meaning of the Cold War? What is the meaning of the Third World? What is the meaning of the Cold War? Who gave the term Cold War? वो सब उसमें मेंशन, राइट? So you can make short notes of the particular. उसको लेके भी आना, थोड़ा डिस्कस कर लेंगे. लेके आना नेक्स्ट क्लास में. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. अच्छा, so tell me that what is the non-alignment movement? Non-alignment movement is a movement of third world countries. Clear? Third world countries. Clear point? And what was the purpose of this particular movement? Next point. Objective of name. Objective of name. Of name. First point. The basic objective of name. The basic objective of name was to ensure independent foreign policy for the third world countries. Next point. To ensure, to ensure the national independence, to ensure the national independence, comma, sovereignty, sovereignty, territorial integrity, territorial, and security of security of non-aligned countries. Security of non-aligned. Right. Next objective. To oppose. To oppose imperialism, comma, colonialism, comma, neo-colonialism, oblique imperialism, racism, racism, and all forms of all forms of foreign foreign subjugation, subjuation, means foreign dominance. Clear point? Hmm? Getting? So, non-alignment movement is a movement of the third world countries. And what was the purpose of this particular movement? To ensure independent foreign policy, sovereignty, integrity, and opposition of this particular. Clear point? Next one. Next point. Name is. First is about the name, objective, and third note करके ऐसा लिख सकते हो, NOT note. Name is without any formal administrative structure. Name is without any formal administrative structure and without a budget. Without a budget. There is no formal secretariat of the name. There is no formal structure of the name. There is no formal budget for the name. मतलब एक मूवमेंट है. मूवमेंट का मतलब तो मूवमेंट होता है फिर. तो कोई ऐसा नहीं है. ये प्रीलिम्स में फैक्ट्स बनाते हैं. That consider the statement about the non-alignment movement. That non-alignment movement has a particular structure in the. आपका हो सकता है कि उनका secretariat हो. तो इसको टाइप से क्वेश्चन एग्जामिनर इरिटेट करता है कभी. अगर मुझे आईआर क्वेश्चंस बनाने दिए जाएं तो मैं बनाऊंगा ऐसे ही टाइप से, क्योंकि आपको बेसिक पता. हाँ. तो अच्छा, लास्ट ईयर देयर वाज अ क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू द वेनेजुएला, राइट? 2024 prelims examination, right? The economic crisis in the Venezuela. So Venezuela was current affairs for 2 years related to the economic crisis in the Venezuela. So there was two statement in the prelims examination that Venezuela ने बहुत अच्छा efforts किया है to improve the economic crisis. Was second point, second statement was that Venezuela has the highest oil reserve in the world. This is not current affairs. This is static. So if any issue in the current affairs, so you have to know that what is the current affairs and then what is the static portion. ये समझना पड़ेगा. पूछता है एग्जामिनर कि आप किस अप्रोच से पढ़ रहे हैं. ऐसे तो नहीं केवल न्यूज यू आर कलेक्टिंग द इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम द न्यूज, राइट? अगर वेनेजुएला इज इन करंट अफेयर्स तो आपको उसके स्टैटिक एरियाज को भी, दैट व्हाट इज द लोकेशन, व्हाट इज द कैपिटल, व्हाट इज द ज्योग्राफिकल, व्हाट इज द रिसोर्स ऑफ द वेनेजुएला, ये सब पकड़ना पड़ेगा. आईआर प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो तो देखो कि कौन सी इवेंट्स कंट्रीज हैं इन न्यूज. उनको फिर समझो। ऐसे ऐसे हो जाता है, बट ऐसे कैसे होगा? फिर कैसे होगा? पढ़ना पड़ेगा। इससे पढ़ना पड़ेगा। दीक्षांत आय से पढ़, ऐसे तभी होगा, नहीं तो नहीं। चलो, क्लियर? So, what is non-alignment movement? What are the objectives? And there is no formal structure for the non-alignment. Next point: evolution and origin of non-alignment movement. Evolution and origin of the name. Note down first point. It has been. It has been established. It has been established based on the principles agreed at the Asia Africa Conference. Yeah, Africa Conference held in Asia Africa Conference held in Bandung, Bandung, held in Bandung, 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 Bandung. Note down in a bracket, Indonesia, in 1955. So the first sitting for this particular movement कहाँ पर हुई? Bandung, Bandung in Indonesia in 1955. So the third world countries started efforts for the non-alignment movement in 1955, right? Clear? Next point. Yeah, continue. You can continue. It is known as. It is known as. It is known as 10 principles of Bandung. 10 principles of 10 principles of Bandung. Bandung. Next point. After a long discussion, after a long comma, name was founded in 1961. Name was founded in 1961 in Belgrade. 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 Serbia. In bracket, Serbia. Belgrade in Serbia. Serbia. Clear? This was the first summit of non-alignment. You can also note down in the bracket that this was the first summit of the name. Note down. This was the first summit of name. First summit of name. Next point. NAM was founded as a movement, opposed to opposed the East West ideological West, WEST West, ideological confrontation, CONFRONTATION, of the Cold War. Cold Clear? Hmm? Clear? So this is origin or history of origin of uh, evolution of the non-alignment. So what is the non-alignment movement? What are the objectives of the non-alignment? And what is the history of evolution and origin of the non-alignment movement? Clear point? What is the non-alignment movement? Simple है. A movement of the third world countries, a movement of the developing countries, movement of the global south. एक ही बात है. Third world countries, global south and third world countries, simple. एक ही बात हो. Next point. What are the achievements of this? Achievements of the non-alignment. अच्छा ऐसे नहीं लगता the challenges or the interest of the third world countries are very closely associated with the poor persons or vulnerable sections of the society, है ना? So for example, there is a question that who is responsible for the environmental degradation, the developed countries or developing countries? Developed countries. Why? They exploited already the resources, right? ये ठीक है. So who is responsible or more responsible to pay more to the environmental conservation or protection? Developed countries, because they are more responsible. But when we are talking about at the global platform, at the platform of the United Nations, platform of the UN, FCCC, UNEP, so there is a concept common but differentiate response. So third world countries are demanding to pay more finance and technology to the developing countries, right? But the developed countries are not ready to pay more to the developing. ये बेसिक सा चैलेंज है. ये एक अच्छा इंडिया एंड चाइना एक तरह से क्या है एनिमी ही है एक दूसरे एट द इन द एशिया बट when they are talking about or these countries are talking about the interests of the global south then they are very close at the platform of the united platform of the world bank or platform of the w health organization they are very close. So India is projecting just like a leader of third world country. और चाइना भी क्या दिखा रहा है that I am leader of third world country. This is Pakistan also reflecting that projecting that I am leader of the third world country. Third world country ने कहा हटो साइड हो जाओ. तो पाकिस्तान in the United Nations General Assembly contested an election against the India in 193 votes. India got 192. Only Pakistan voted to him. खुद अपने लिए पाकिस्तान वोट किया. This is the leadership of India at the global level. Because the economy of Pakistan is not very strong. Pakistan is facing economic challenges, है ना? So Pakistan का role था, right? Before 2014 or before 2008, because Pakistan was very close to the USA. When the USA stopped economic financing or financial assistance to the Pakistan, then Pakistan is facing crisis, right? So present time, Pakistan is very close to the China, right? But 75 countries at the globe, they are democratic. China is non-democratic. So at the present time, the world is divided in two parts. A group of the democratic countries, a group of non-democratic countries, China, Pakistan, North Korea, Iran, or Russia. This is the one group. And USA, India, है ना? And Australia, Japan. This is the one group, right? They are fighting to each other. तो ये भी एक division है. And when India and China, when they are talking about the voice of the global south, then they are very close friend. ये international politics है. This is the international. Hmm? One party democracy. राहुल यादव नमस्ते बेटा ठीक है खुश रहो. हाँ. China is a one party democracy. So every country is claiming that I am democracy. According to the China, the, the present time democracy, this is not true democracy, but this is the democracy of Western countries. This is imported democracy, not imported, right? This is just imposed democracy on the countries. So according to the China, we have a version of new democracy, its own democracy of the Mao, one party democracy. But in democracy, if there is one party, then how the democracy is possible? So China is saying that there is a need to adopt the democracy of the China at the global level, right? But the features of democracy are different, right? So according to Saudi Arabia, we are also democratic. Saudi Arabia also claiming that I'm democratic. The democracy of Saudi Arabia is different. Sukarno, the president of the Indonesia, they claimed that we have a different type of the democracy. There is no need to adopt the democracy of the Western countries. So this democracy, we are following the particular democracy. This is a democracy of the Western countries. This democracy is promoting the interest of the West, and this democracy is fulfilling the interest of Western countries. This is the claim and criticism of the present time democracy, the global level, right? So ठीक हुई है, because the democracy, the present time democracy, is a child of liberal capitalism ideology. Getting? तब आपके काम का नहीं छोड़ो. ये थोड़ा सा इंटेलेक्चुअल लेवल का डिबेट एंड डिस्कशन है. किस लेवल का? कि आप लोग उतने इंटेलेक्चुअल नहीं है. दिस इज द डिबेट एंड डिस्कशन एट द इंटेलेक्चुअल लेवल. तो सामने भी कैसा आदमी होना चाहिए? उसी लेवल का. अभी बन जाएंगे आप लोग. एंड एंड द लास्ट ऑफ द क्लास वी विल डिस्कस ऑल दीज थिंग, राइट? वैसे आपको क्या लगता है? This democracy, we are following the particular democracy. This democracy is democracy of the India or democracy of the Western country? Or this is the imposed democracy or accepted democracy? Accepted or imposed? Accepted democracy or imposed democracy? बहुत बड़ी डिबेट है. But being a student of political science, we do not have any alternative of this democracy. This is the best form of government at the present time, right? Acha, in 1991, India adopted LPG. So this was imposed or this was accepted? It was imposed by the IMF or the World Bank. हम accept नहीं करना चाहते, but our economic condition was very different or very difficult. So we adopted the terms and condition of the World Bank and IMF. Also a debate of that तो करेंगे बात बाद में. बट आपको ये पता होना चाहिए. You are preparing for this examination, you have to analyze the concept. ऐसे नहीं चलेगा काम कि आपने पढ़ लिया बस. थोड़ा सा critical analysis and thinking on the topics, what is happening at the global level, right? When you are reading the newspaper, then what is the scenario at the global level? Why the acha, there is a thinker, Michael Doyle. What is the name? Michael Doyle. He gave the concept of the democratic peace theory. Concept of democratic peace theory. He said that democratic countries never fight. There is a fighting between democratic and non. For example, Russia is a non-democratic and Ukraine is, and always non-democratic countries attacked on. For example, India and Pakistan. Pakistan is non-democratic, so always Pakistan uh, try to occupy the territory of India, right? This is the democratic peace theory. Acha, for example, European countries, for example, just like European Union, the countries of the European Union are democratic. So उन्होंने दिखा दिया that European Union is possible. But what is the responsible factor for the failure of the SARC, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation? But the member states of the SARC, some are democratic and some are non-democratic. For example, India and Bangladesh are democratic, but at the present time Bangladesh also is not democratic. Other member countries of the SARC, for example Pakistan, है ना, फॉर एग्जाम्पल नॉट चीन इज नॉट, अफगानिस्तान है ना, मालदीव है ना, नेपाल, भूटान, दीज आर नॉट डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्रीज, right? And what are the reason behind the success of the European Union? That all the countries of the European Union, so on the basis of this hypothesis, Michael Doyle declared that there's the need to expand the democratic concept at the global level. If all are democratic, then there is no place for the conflict. There is no place for the, if there is conflict, then we can resolve the conflict on the basis of peaceful. This is the democratic approach. Ideologies क्या है ये सब? तो इफ देयर इज एनी क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड टू दैट, आप क्या सोचते हैं जो ग्लोबल टेररिज्म है उसको कैसे खत्म कर सकते हैं? इफ ऑल कंट्रीज आर डेमोक्रेटिक, सो यू कैन सपोर्ट द डेमोक्रेटिक वे टू रिजॉल्व दैट द प्रॉब्लम एट द ग्लोबल लेवल। लेकिन इतना आसान है नहीं जैसा मैंने बता दिया, है नहीं। अच्छा, आप भी देख रहे होंगे कि जो भी मैं बोल रहा हूँ वो ठीक ही लग रहा है। ऑल अप्रोचेज आर लुकिंग जस्ट ठीक है, ये भी ठीक है, ये भी ठीक है। तो दिस इज द characteristics of the arts subject, that everything is good and everything is every philosophy has some advantage, and on the other hand every philosophy has a certain disadvantage. तो ठीक है, हमें पढ़ना पड़ेगा, right? Emmanuel Kant, Michael Doyle adopted this particular theory from the Emmanuel Kant. He is a great philosopher. Ethics में पढ़ोगे आप लोगों ने, right? So this is, तो हम पढ़ेंगे सार्क, that what are the reason behind the failure of SARC, that countries are have different political ideology and political structures, right? Next one. Achievements, first point. Name focused on 4D, focused on 4D, 4. First, DETNTE, detente, detente भी उसको बोलते हैं, right? This is a French word. Second is disarmament. Disarmament. Next is decolonization. Third is decolonization. And development of third world. Development of third. Who coined the term third world? Who coined the term Cold War? This is your homework. ढूंढ के लाना, देख लो कहीं. Who coined the term third world? Who coined the term Cold War? This is very interesting subject. International, right? और जब आप सेलेक्ट हो जाएंगे और आप ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं IFS, तो आपका यही काम है. क्या काम है? You are representative of India to a particular country. And what is basic function? To maintain a good relation between India and the particular. For example, you are ambassador of India to the Switzerland. क्या लाइफ है? आप सरकारी पैसे पर कहाँ रह रहे हैं? जेनेवा, राइट? और बेल्जियम, फिनलैंड, फिनलैंड में हैं आप, और डेनमार्क, राइट? लेकिन पहले नहीं बनाते. आप ज्वाइनिंग होगी तो कहाँ भेजेंगे? सोमालिया, इथियोपिया, रवांडा, युगांडा. हाँ, यहाँ भेजते हैं. सूडान, गन चल रही है, कान के बगल से गोली निकल गई, ओ माय गॉड व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. पहले ऐसे भेजते हैं, बाद में भेजते हैं जो सीनियर मोस्ट ऑफिसर्स होते हैं, फिर उन्हें भेजते हैं डेनमार्क, स्वीडन, म्यांमार. म्यांमार भेजने, पता है म्यांमार में एम्बेसडर होने का मतलब मौत को बुलाना है ना? पाकिस्तान तो अब बंद कर दिया, अफगानिस्तान तालिबान ने भेज दिया, पता नहीं कौन कब गोली मार दे, पता ही नहीं कुछ, है ना? ऐसे होता है, बड़ी मुश्किल काम है. फिर भी IFS है तो जाना तो पड़ेगा, ये नहीं बोल सकते कि हम वहां नहीं जाए. लेकिन धीरे धीरे जैसे आपने देखा ना, एक वो होता है रेलवे में गुड गार्ड्स, गुड गार्ड्स होता है, जो एक तो ड्राइवर होता है, एक रेलवे में हमेशा हरी झंडी जो दिखाता है ना, गुड गार्ड्स की ड्यूटी जो होती है। एक मेरे जानने वाले हैं, तो पहले उनकी ड्यूटी गुड गार्ड्स बने तो उन्होंने कहा मुझे शताब्दी में घूमने मिलेगा। पहले उनकी ड्यूटी मालगाड़ी में लगाया कई साल तक, और फिर बाद में जो है पैसेंजर पे आया, फिर पैसेंजर के बाद एक्सप्रेस पे, फिर शताब्दी पे। मैं कहा अरे बाप रे, इतना मुश्किल है क्या? समझ गए आप? क्या मुश्किल है भाई। पहले वो सीधा शताब्दी पे लगा देगा, अगर गलत झंडी दिखा दी तो कौन से लोग मरेंगे? अपर क्लास, समझ रहे हो? तो पहले मालगाड़ी पे लगाओ, फिर पैसेंजर, गरीब लोगों को मरने दो। देखो अभी दिल्ली में कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। अब शताब्दी में कौन जाता है? आप जैसे लोग जाते हो कि नहीं शताब्दी से? मैं तो हूँ ही अमीर आदमी, अपना बताओ। नहीं जाते? अगर शताब्दी से नहीं जाते फिर बहुत गरीब हैं आप लोग। चलो कोई बात नहीं, चलो। नहीं, यू आर नॉट गेटिंग, कोई बात नहीं, जाने दो। है भी नहीं है आपके काम का, ये सब इनके काम का है। दिस इज नॉट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द लैंग्वेज, बट दिस इज माई मदर टंग, हिंदी। अगर मैं 2 घंटे में हिंदी नहीं बोलूंगा तो दिस इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर मी। आई वांट टू समथिंग इन। और जब मैं अपने घर में व्हेन आई वाज टॉकिंग, आई एम टॉकिंग टू माय फैमिली, आप समझ ही नहीं पाओगे माय लैंग्वेज, दिस इज बुंदेलखंडी। हाँ, if there is a call of my mom, so I said that क्या कह रही हो, okay then I will call you that, she said that, ठीक है मैं बाद में कॉल करूंगी, बिकॉज वो जान रही हैं दैट यू आर कहीं आप बैठे हुए हैं, और उनका कॉल है, मैंने कहा हाँ बताओ क्या कह रही हो, उन्होंने कहा ठीक है, देन गेटिंग। so this is my language, हिंदी। you are getting something little हिंदी, little bit or not? कुछ भी नहीं आता। ये कैसे पता चला कुछ भी नहीं आता? समझने लगे? दिस इज द कैपेसिटी ऑफ द हिंदी स्पीकिंग पीपल, दे नेवर लर्न समथिंग टू यू, लेकिन वो आपको हिंदी सिखा देंगे। There was a my colleague, my classmate from the Kerala in MA, when I was pursuing MA from a legal Muslim in political science. A person from the Kerala, he never knew the Hindi, एक word, single word. But आप when हम लोग फाइनली डिग्री ले रहे थे MA की, उसने मुझसे कहा और बताओ क्या हो रहा है, मैंने कहा ओ माय गॉड। वो पहली बार मुझसे मिला तो वो नहीं जान रहा था हिंदी वर्ड इज केरला, एंड फाइनली जब हम जा रहे थे, बैच खत्म हो रहा था, उसने कहा और बताओ क्या चल रहा है, व्हाट इज दिस। देयर वाज अ स्टूडेंट फ्रॉम द इंडोनेशिया, नूर सादा खुदरी, शी वाज फ्रॉम इंडोनेशिया, लड़की थी, एंड फाइनली विद इन 6 मंथ उसने 2 वर्ड सीखे, रोको रोको, बहुत अच्छा है, दैट बहुत अच्छा है, रोको रोको। so मैंने कहा व्हाट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड दिस पर्टिकुलर रोको रोको? तो वहाँ रिक्शा खींचते हैं ना, तो उससे बोलना पड़ता जस्ट रोको रोको। सीख जाओगे हिंदी आप, दिस इज माय गारंटी, हम सिखा के भेजेंगे। राइट। चलो, दिस इज ऑल्सो अ डिबेट एंड डिस्कशन इन इंडिया, राइट? imposing Hindi, the South, right? Not getting, चलो कोई बात। Achievement first, अच्छा, so this non-alignment movement is talking about the 4 Ds. Detain means, अच्छा, what is the meaning of this particular French word? This is the situation of peacekeeping, situation of peacekeeping between 2 countries, right? So this is the meaning of detain, right? So disarmament clear, and development. Next point. Next achievement of non-alignment movement: independent voice to the global south. Independent voice to the global south. To the global south. The global. Acha, what is the meaning of this particular term, global south? Global south. Global south. Global south means collective efforts or collective sign for the third world countries. Global south. Global south means countries of northern sphere also which are developing, and countries of southern spheres which are developing. So this is global south, means completely third world countries. This is global. Next. This movement, this movement opposed the promotion or testing of nuclear weapons. Nuclear. Yeah. Next point. Sam Ansari. Good morning. Very good morning. As we next point. This movement in 1973 demanded for NIEO, demanded for NIEO, NI, NIEO. NIEO means N means new, I means international, E means economic order. Note down full form. New international economic. Acha. Economic order. Existing economic order and new international economic. This is NEO. NIEO. NEO. Right? So this particular order demanded by the non-alignment movement. Existing economic order means existing economic world order. Who regulates the existing economic order or world order? Which institution at the global level is responsible to regulate the existing economic order? Which institution? Hmm? World Trade Organization, World Bank, IMF. These institutions, these two Bretton Woods institutions and World Trade Organization, these institutions are responsible to regulate the existing world, right? So what is the existing world order? Or during this particular Cold War, what was the existing world order? What existing world order means? These institutions are regulating or were regulating the existing world order, and in this order, the developed countries have betes or veto betes in these institutions. So these countries are influencing the policies of these institutions in the favor of developed countries, right? And developing countries, these countries have less significance or role in these institutions because they are not able to pay more to these institutions, and on the basis of your contribution you have the veto power in these institutions, right? So USA and developed countries, they are able to pay more finance to these institutions, so they have more veto power in these institutions, right? So policies, programs of these institutions are advocating the interest of developed countries, right? And developing countries are not treated equally, and the existing economic world. So this movement, non-alignment movement, demanded a new economic world, the new international economic world order, and this order should be based on the equality, equal role for the developed and developing countries, right? For example, WTO economy पढ़ लिया आपने, completed? Green box subsidy, blue box subsidy, है ना? Amber box subsidy, right? So these subsidies or these concept of subsidies at the global level, these concepts of subsidy is fulfilling the interest of the developed countries, not the developing countries. So these countries or the global south or the third world countries or the uh, developing countries or the non-alignment movement demanding a new international economic order. A order in which developing countries also have their role to ensure equality when there is any question or any discussion related to the distribution of the resource. So they are demanding. So this is the contribution of a non-alignment movement. That non-alignment movement criticized the existing economic world order, and it's focused the disadvantage of this particular existing economic order, and this movement advocated for new international economic, right? This order should be based on the equality, right? Getting my point? The new international economic order, but ऐसा कुछ हुआ नहीं. Countries demanded what? Developed countries are not, they are not very interested to ensure this new international economy, क्योंकि उससे कैसे ही नुकसान होगा डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज, और उनके बिना पॉसिबल नहीं हो पा रहा है, बट फिर भी देखते हैं इन फ्यूचर क्या हो रहा है, राइट? क्लियर पॉइंट? नेक्स्ट वन. This movement also demanded, this movement also demanded to end the monopoly of western countries, western western. परवेज अली, गुड इवनिंग. अभी इवनिंग ही हो रही है. हाँ, क्या लिखा? वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज इन इंटरनेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट, इंटरनेशनल, right? So there is a question I am asking to you, that developed countries have monopoly in the international institute. Any example? UNO. How? UNO, United Nations Security Council. Only P5. Only 5 countries are permanent member of United Nations Security Council. But the third world countries are demanding that the world is multipolar. There are a lot of countries, or these countries are the power, are the center of the powers. So why you are not increasing the permanent membership of the United Nations Security? But these 5 countries are not very interested to increase the membership of the permanent membership of the United Nations Security. So these movement, this movement, or these countries, they are demanding the democratization of the international, democratization of the United Nation, democratization of the United Nation, specifically United Nations Security, democratization of the World Bank, democratization of the, democratization means participation of third world countries in the decision making process, and participation of the third world countries in this organization. This is the democratization of the global international, the global institute, right? Continue. It is known as democratization of international, is known as democratization of global institute, such as United Nations, World Bank, IMF. Getting? So these are the achievements. Last point, achievement, last achievement. This movement this movement played a role, played a crucial role in establishing world peace, establishing world peace by solving various political conflicts, by solving various political conflicts, such as the Korean War, such as Korean War, Korean, Korean War, Vietnam War, Vietnam, 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 etc. So these are the achievements of the non-alignment, right? Also, you have to memorize the new international economic order and then the non-alignment movement started during the Cold War. And, and when the non-alignment movement started, the world was divided into block. But at the present time, the world is multipolar. There is many poles of power or centers of power. Then what is the relevancy of the non-alignment? There is any relevancy or not? Now we are going to discuss this particular. Yeah. So these points are clear, that what is name, what are the objectives of the name, evolution and origin of the name, and then achievements of the name. Clear point? Next, relevancy of the non-alignment movement. परवेज अली का कहना है वन नेशन टू अदर नेशन में टैरिफ फैक्टर्स इन WTO. हाउ गुड. यूट्यूब वाले अच्छा बोल रहे हैं, राहुल नहीं. थोड़ा सा इंटरेस्ट लाओ, थोड़ी सी जान लाओ पढ़ने में. मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ आपको, कौन पढ़ा रहा है? मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ. तो कुछ तो ऐसा लगना चाहिए, जब पढ़ के जाओ तो लगना चाहिए कि इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस पढ़ के आए हैं. थोड़ा पापा से बात करते हुए, हेलो पापा, व्हाट इज द सिनेरियो, रसिया ने क्यों अटैक किया यूक्रेन पे, पापा से पूछ रहे. उन्होंने, ओह माय गॉड, वो आपको जो मंथली पे भेज रहे हैं उसमें 2,000 बढ़ा दिया, इज 2,000. ऐसे बढ़ जाएगा. जब भी घर पे बात करो, देयर इज अ स्ट्रेटजी. व्हेन यू आर टॉकिंग होम फैमिली डिस्कशन लाओ उनके सामने, दैट व्हाई, व्हाट इज द रीजन बिहाइंड दिस पर्टिकुलर फिलॉसफी. डैड को लगा, ओह माय गॉड, बहुत मेहनत कर रहा है, घी का डब्बा और 2,000 रुपये एक्स्ट्रा, 2,000 रुपीज एक्स्ट्रा मंथली पे आ जाएगा. जब भी घर जाते हो तो पढ़ते हो कि नहीं? जानबूझ के पढ़ो. अब घर जाओ तो बुक लेके जाओ, उन्हें दिखाने के लिए पढ़ो कि कितनी मेहनत यहाँ कर रहा है, तो वहां कितनी करता होगा यार. जब आओगे तो 2,000 and 3,000 रुपीज एक्स्ट्रा पॉकेट मनी. ये स्ट्रेटजी है पैसे निकालने की. फॉलो करो इसको. चलो, सो व्हाट इज द रेलिवेंसी? रेलिवेंसी ऑफ, नो डाउट, इज, क्वेश्चन, थोड़ा सा क्वेश्चन लिखवा रहा हूँ. फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, नो डाउट, क्वेश्चन इज नेम, इज नेम लूजिंग, इज नेम लूजिंग, लूज करना, लूजिंग इट्स रेलिवेंस इन इन मल्टी polar world. Getting? What do you think? Losing or not? So, first point is arguments in favor. Make a heading. Make a heading. Argument in favor. In favor mean that name is losing its relevancy. Argument in favor. Note down in bracket that name is losing its relevancy in multipolar world. So firstly, we are going to argue that NAM is losing its relevancy in the multipolar. Acha, so various scholars argued that NAM has lost its relevance. So they gave a lot of arguments to prove that NAM has lost its relevancy. First argument. First argument. NAM's relevance. NAM's relevance was was D diluted L diluted diluted dilu with the end of Cold War. With the end of Cold War. Because was the basic purpose of a name was because the basic purpose of a name was to non-align with or against any block. So scholars argued that so scholars argued that in the multipolar world, name has lost its relevance. According to scholars, then and just listen. According to scholars, name was relevant in bipolar world, right? What the world is multipolar, so there is no relevancy of non-alignment. Getting first point or not, right? Because a name emerged in bipolar, and what was the basic purpose of the non-alignment movement? To non-align with any blog. But a blog ही नहीं है, then what is the relevancy of the non-alignment movement? The scholars argued that एंड हुआ कोल्ड वॉर, इससे एंड हुआ। हाँ ठीक भी है, देखते हैं, अभी इसको भी क्रिटिसाइज करेंगे। तो आई एम नॉट टीचिंग यू इंटरनेशनल, आई एम teaching and preparing notes for the your this is the method to prepare notes for examination. मैं आके ऐसे भी बोल सकता था कि व्हाट इज द नॉन अलाइनमेंट मूवमेंट और बाद में नोट्स ले लेना, बात खत्म। तो देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन यूनिवर्सिटी लेक्चर एंड दिस कॉम्पिटिटिव लेक्चर। मैंने पढ़ाया है 1 ईयर गेस्ट फैकल्टी ऑफ पॉलिटिकल साइंस इन अलीगढ़। There is no need to make notes. Students भी agree नहीं है, दे उसमें तो कुछ बिना कॉपी के आ रहे हैं। There is no need to carry copy in classroom. वो आए ऐसे बैठ के सुन रहे हैं, so I am giving the lecture on the. This is not lecture. This is not about the philosophical points of view of the non-alignment movement, right? Examiner पूछेगा नहीं, because journal studies क्या पढ़ना है आपको? There is no need to make expert of the particular subject. You have to collect journal information on the particular topic, but information should be structured. If your information is not very rich in the perspective of the content, your information is general. What this information is structured, then you will receive or get marks in the knowledge बहुत है, but you are not presenting your information or knowledge in a structured way, then examiner आपको marks नहीं करेगा. That why? Because what is the personality of an IAS officer? Structured personality. वो हमेशा बात करता है इन वेरी स्ट्रक्चर्ड वे। आप किसी आईएएस ऑफिसर से मिलो, आप किसी आईपीएस को सुनो, वो कैसे बात करेगा? सरकार के आदेश से ऐसा हम कर रहे हैं, क्यों पता नहीं। आपको नहीं जाने देना है तो नहीं जाने देना है, वाई? हमें नहीं पता क्यों नहीं जाने देना है, बिकॉज बस ऑर्डर है तो है। वेरी स्ट्रक्चर्ड पर्सनैलिटी। तो वो डिमांडिंग है इन एग्जामिनेशन, राइट? लेस नॉलेज, नो टेंशन, बट नॉलेज इन स्ट्रक्चर्ड, we are trying to make a notes in a structured way. So you have to memorize this knowledge in a structured way. Non-alignment movements means about the non-alignment movement, origin, evolution of the non-alignment movement, achievements and the relevancy, arguments in favor, arguments in against. This is the non-alignment. Keep in mind this structure. So classified themes in sub-themes and classified sub-themes in various points. This is the UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, right? Because for in the ethics paper, UPSC provided some themes to you. So classified these themes in sub-themes and sub-themes in various. In economy, UPSC provided themes, 10 or 11 themes in economics syllabus. So classified these themes in sub-themes and sub-themes in points. And just memorize that this is the liberalization impact on the Indian economy. This is sub-themes. This is the core points or sub-points of the sub. बस ये है पूरा examination. तो समझना पड़ेगा. What is the, this examination is not a game of knowledge. This is a game of aptitude. And what is the attitude? Theme, core theme, sub themes and points of the particular. तो हम कैसे पढ़ रहे हैं? What is the theme? India and its bilateral, or India and its relations with neighbors. This is the core theme. We divided this theme into sub theme. क्या? Foreign policy of India, है ना? क्या? Gujarat doctrine and Panchsheel, and then non-alignment. So non-alignment movement is sub theme of the first theme of our syllabus, and the non-alignment movement is divided in also 4 points. What is the non-alignment movement? Evolution of the non-alignment movement, achievements of the non-alignment movement, and the relevancy of the. So in the mains examination, question is, what do you think by the non-alignment movement? Discuss the evolution of the. Simple. This is the static portion. Discuss the relevancy of the non-alignment movement in multipolar world. Is NAM losing its relevancy in the multipolar world? What do you think? Comment. These are the questions in the mains examination. If any question in from this particular segment. अब ये नहीं कि there is a question from the relevancy and you are writing achievements of the non-alignment movement. There is a question from the relevancy of the non-alignment movement and 250 words, and you are 100 words you are writing on the history and evolution of the non-alignment movement. If there is any question from the relevancy, so what is the non-alignment movement? Introduction, and then start the relevancy, argument, favor and against, and the conclusion. Baat khatam. This is the means answer writing. You are getting this, you are preparing very in a good way or good. Otherwise, you are preparing a 5-year or 10-year plan. बढ़िया. वापस घर जाओ. क्या? वापस. परेशान मत हो, मैं वैसे ही पढ़ा रहा हूँ. गेटिंग पॉइंट. कैसे पढ़ना है यूपीएससी? यही है. इससे ज्यादा इज वेरी सिंपल, वेरी इजी. बट इफ यू आर गेटिंग द कोर ऑफ दिस और स्मार्ट स्टडी, तो नॉन अलाइनमेंट मूवमेंट आई थिंक ऑन द कितने पेज में? 2 and 3 पेजेस. पढ़ने जाओगे गूगल पे मिलेगा 40 पेज में. हाउ मेनी पेजेस? 40 पेजेस. किताब में पढ़ने जाओगे 40 पेजेस. किसी बुक में, किसी नोट्स में पढ़ लोगे तो 40 पेजेस. बट अब आप ये भी नहीं क्लासिफाइड कर सकते विच इंफॉर्मेशन इज रेलिवेंट फॉर यू एंड नॉट रेलिवेंट फॉर यू. वो कौन करेगा? दिस इज द ड्यूटी ऑफ, because we have experience of this examination. But UPSC is asking questions from the related to the name particular points. Otherwise points को हमें क्या करना है? छोड़. So you have to faith on coaching which you are enrolled, faith on teacher, content which is provided by the teacher. तो ये करना पड़ेगा. इसी से क्या होगा? सिलेक्शन चल के आने वाला होगा. सिलेक्शन क्लियर? But this is the first relevant. Next. So this is the first argument that name has lost its relevancy. Second point. Irregularity irregularity, irregularity, to maintain its of schedule of meetings. For example, in meeting, for example, the 18th summit of name held in 2019. 2019 in Azerbaijan, 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 but the 19th summit of name, but the 19th summit of name held in held in held in 2024 in Uganda. So for 18th summit in 2019, in how many years? 2024. कितना साल हुआ? 5 years. What summit होता कितने में है? रेगुलरली 3 years में होता था. रेगुलर समिट्स नहीं हो रहे, तो इससे भी क्या पता चल रहा है कि रेलिवेंसी लॉस्ट हो. रेगुलर समिट्स नहीं हो रहे हैं, इट मींस मेंबर कंट्रीज का इंटरेस्ट नहीं है इन द नॉन अलाइनमेंट. गेटिंग? सो दिस इज आल्सो एन आर्गुमेंट. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. member countries of name, member countries of perceived, perceived, perceived tilt, tilt towards big powers, super powers. For example, India tilted towards you. Okay, correct. Getting? Next point. Some scholars argued that there was no relevancy of name during the Cold War. During the Cold War. Because before the Cold War, India was tilted towards USSR before the end of the Cold War. Before the end of the Cold War. Before the end of the Cold War, India was tilted towards USSR, and after the end of Cold War, India is tilted towards USA. Achha, India was a leader of the non-alignment movement, but during this period, India was tilted towards USSR. ये भी बड़ी प्रॉब्लम थी. So next argument. Next one. Members countries of NAM. Members countries of NAM have different approaches to the name. For example, for example, founding member of, for example, ऐसे लिखो, for example, Egypt, for example, Egypt, comma, founding member of name, Egypt, comma, founding member of name, comma, declared that name has lost its relevance. Next point, next argument. There is increasing relevance of alternative forums like T20 and regional cooperation such as SARC, ASEAN, BIMSTEC, BRICS. BRICS is not a regional, just like a global, right? Acha. So, on the basis of this argument, scholar criticize that the member countries of name are not very interested to participate in the meetings of the name. Right? India is focusing on BIMSTEC rather than, right? We are focusing towards ASEAN, not the basically arguments of the scholar. Next point. Name, name was or oblique is, was oblique is, oblique name was oblique is a mere mere talk so talk so मतलब तो का मतलब क्या है? अरे टॉक शो भी लिख सकते हैं, कोई इशू नहीं. टॉक शो देखा आपने, टॉक शो होता है बातचीत, केवल वहां बैठ के बातचीत होती है. तो नेम का कोई कंक्लूड डिसीजंस नहीं है. नोट डाउन इन दिस पॉइंट, नोट डाउन, टेस्ट करके लिखेंगे. सिंस अ मेजॉरिटी of the members, since a majority, since a majority of the members of name unable to command adequate ADAT power to enforce their decision, to enforce their decision. Means the decisions of name are not binding to the member states. कई concrete conclusion नहीं है of the sitting of the meeting of the non-alignment. So non-alignment movement, on the basis of these arguments we can say that non-alignment movement, clear, getting. Yeah. Recently I saw the copy of a student of the Bihar Public Service Commission. The RTI copy I filled the RTI and commission provided the copy, the particular student to the student. So this is copy is uploaded on internet. So I saw the particular copy. So the student is not answering very well. Just so on the basis of these argument, we can say, but examiner giving good marks to the student. But the answer is in structure. Basic सी बात क्या है? If the examiner is asking to you that what do you think by the name, discuss the relevancy of the name. The question is the uh, 15 marks, right? So what is the question? That what do you think by the non-alignment movement? Discuss the relevancy of the name. So question is the, for example, 15 marks. So 7.5 marks and 7.5 marks. So first part, 7.5 marks for the first part. For first part is what do you think about the non understood by the non alignment movement. तो आपको 75 मार्क्स किस पे मिलेंगे? वो लिखना पड़ेगा about the non alignment movement, object of the non alignment movement, and then 75 marks for the relevancy of the non alignment movement. राइट क्वेश्चन फॉर का वर्ड्स है 250 वर्ड्स, तो 125 में व्हाट इज द नॉन अलाइनमेंट मूवमेंट, एंड 120 वर्ड्स में फिर आपको क्या लिखना पड़ेगा? द रेलेवेंसी ऑफ द, ये स्ट्रक्चर होता है, दिस इज द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ आंसर. अगर ये डिमांड फुलफिल कर रहे हो तो मार्क्स मिले, अदरवाइज नहीं मिलता. ठीक है, बहुत कंटेंट लिखने से मार्क्स नहीं मिलता. जो पूछा गया है वो लिखो तो मार्क्स. अभी क्वेश्चंस भी दूंगा, फिर थोड़ा चेक भी कर दूंगा. आप एक दो लिख के लाए हो कल वाला? कुछ नहीं, ऐसे नहीं हो फिर नहीं दूंगा. चलो पढ़ो, लिखना पड़ेगा. अभी लिख के दूंगा कल. अभी क्वेश्चन देंगे, कल संडे है, संडे में एक आध क्वेश्चन जो है लिख के लाना, तो चेक करेंगे. क्योंकि फाइनली सेलेक्ट कैसे हो गए? प्रीलिम्स इज जस्ट क्वालिफाइंग एग्जामिनेशन, बट आप फाइनल लिस्ट में पहुंचेंगे ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ योर मेंस परफॉर्मेंस इन द मेंस एग्जाम, है ना? 1750 मार्क्स, 1750 and 275 इंटरव्यू. So this is the game. 1750, इस पे मेहनत करो. कितना अचीव कर सकते हो ये है. If you are getting 900 out of 1750, it means आप ऑल इंडिया टॉप कर रहे हैं. टोटल क्या है? 2025. गेटिंग? और if you are getting 1000, it means this is the टॉपर मार्क्स. ऑल इंडिया टॉप हो जाएगा. 50% पे ऑल इंडिया टॉप. सोचो. आंसर राइटिंग, डेवलप स्किल, वो कैसे होगा? प्रैक्टिस एंड, राइट. चलो, आर्गुमेंट्स अगेंस्ट आर्गुमेंट, आर्गुमेंट्स इन नेक्स्ट. आर्गुमेंट अगेंस्ट. So now we are giving the arguments that name has its relevancy. You can note down in the bracket that name has its relevancy. ठीक है. फर्स्ट पॉइंट, name members represent, name members represent 2/3 of the UN membership. Name members represent 2/3 of the UN membership, and commands, COMMANDS, commands voice against, commands voice against any international hegemony. Commands voice against any international hegemony. To dominate, to dominate, hegemony, to dominate smaller states. Smaller states. For example, voice against unequal world economic order. Voice against unequal world economic order. And reform of international. Next point. Next point. Third world countries. Third world countries are facing. Third world countries are facing challenges such as poverty, hunger, inequality, environmental degradation. Right? Continue. Global South. Continue. Continue. Global South faced these challenges during the Cold War. Yeah, cool. And these countries are facing these challenges at the present time. These countries are facing these challenges at the present time. So this movement was relevant and is relevant. Right? Getting point. Problem are similar to the third world country. During the Cold War, problems, these problems are facing were facing by the, and at the present time third world countries are facing same challenges. So non-aligned movement is relevant or was relevant. Right one. Against the exploitation of the developed countries. Right? Next point. During the Cold War, during the Cold War, during the Cold War, comma, NAM opposed colonialism or imperialism. Opposed colonialism and imperialism. But at the present time, at the present time, third world countries are facing challenge by neo-colonialism. No? So NAM has its getting getting or not? Hmm? Clear? Globalization so has relevancy. Right one. Clear point? Next point. Conclusion. Conclude. We are going to conclude the particular. Third world countries or global south. Third world countries or global south can utilize the platform of the NAM utilize the platform of the NAM to raise the voice of global south. Clear point? To raise the voice of, because global south is still facing lot of challenge of exploitation, challenge of environmental degradation. Clear? क्वेश्चन लिख लो फॉर द प्रैक्टिस. लिख के लाना क्वेश्चन. क्वेश्चन वही है कि इज नैम losing its relevancy in multipolar world. Is RAM losing its relevancy in multipolar world? This is the question for. वैसे आंसर मैंने लिखा ही दिया है, बट थोड़ा ऐसे मत कॉपी खोल के मत लिख लाना, थोड़ा सा दिमाग से. क्लियर? एनी डाउट, क्वेश्चन, प्रॉब्लम? कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. क्या मतलब निकाला जाए इसका? तो मतलब